What's up everybody? Today we're gonna talk Lightroom tips. So today's video are for those of you who are new to photography. Maybe you're just starting editing your photos. Well, these tips are gonna help you get things rolling. Now, I've been using Lightroom for a long time. I started with the free mobile app and then I moved on to the paid Lightroom Classic. These are tips that I have picked up over the years and I really think they're gonna help you streamline your process. So tip number one, organize your photos. So you come home from a day of shooting, you unload your memory card, you load everything into Lightroom. I don't know about you, but I'm an overshooter. I shoot way too much and have way too many images to go through when I come home. So what I like to do is star rating. That means that when I have my photos in Lightroom, I can press 1 through 5 to give them a star rating. So when I go through my images, I can just pick one. I like this one, I press 5. That means that now I know I need to edit it later. This one I maybe don't like, I press 1. Then I know I have to delete it later, and then I just go through all the images and then I can choose filter and rate it, and then I can choose that I want equal to all 1 stars, and then I just can choose all the 1 stars and delete them all at once. Of course, you can use this how you want. For example, if you're working with clients, you can show them all the images, tell them to press 2s on everything they want to save. And then you can go through and press 5 on all the ones you like, and then you can compare with the clients, stuff like that. You can do it just how you like it. That's just how I do it. Tip number 2 is auto tone. So you got your images into Lightroom, you made your selection and you're ready to edit, but where to start? Now, I don't use this tip anymore, but it's a great way to establish a baseline, especially if you're new and not quite sure where to start. So what you're gonna do is when you have your photo, you're gonna go over here to the panel, and up here there's this button called Auto, and you're just gonna press that, and just like that, Lightroom has made an edit for you. So what happens here is that Adobe has kind of made an exposure that they think is correct for this photo. It doesn't work all the times, but it gives you a great baseline. So from here you can start playing around with stuff. Maybe you want a little more shadows or a little less or whatever you want. Tip number 3 is grids. So now you might want to crop your image. So what you do is you come over here and press the crop icon, or you can press R on the keyboard and you get the grids like this. And from here you can just pull or move it around, whatever you want to do. You can choose the aspect ratio, just play around with that, or you can press O, and just like that we get different kind of grid overlays that can help us frame our image. So in my case I can use something like this. I got this rock formation in the middle and I got these rock in the foreground that leads the eye up, and this can help me frame up my image so it's centered. I can also use something like maybe this one that's giving the same effect. We also have something like this. I can see how I can crop it for a 4:5 ratio. That means for Instagram, for example. I also have this one. It's kind of like the rule of third. It helps me like guide the eye into where I want it to land. What I can do here is I can press Shift and O, and just like that I can rotate it for how it fits the image. Tip number 4, level your image. While you're in the crop menu, you need to look at the horizon to see if that needs to be adjusted. So there's different ways I can do this. I can grab one of the corners up here and just try to make it right, or I can come over here and press the auto button. And normally it does a pretty good job, but not always, depends on the image. What I also can do is I can choose this angle tool right here, and that does so I can make this line, just drag it over here, and just like that I got a straight horizon. Tip number 5 is before and after. So what I can do is I can go down here and press the Y button, and then I get a before and after besides each other. But I feel like this is kind of too much, it's hard to compare. So what I do instead, I'm just gonna press slash on the keyboard and I get a before and after. Before, after. And just like that, it's easy to see small difference in my edits. Tip number 6 is radial vignetting. I'm having a really hard time saying that word, but here we go. So instead of using the vignetting tool, I'm using the mask tool instead, because this gives me more freedom. So I'm gonna go to my masking tools. I'm gonna use a radial grade and just gonna pull it up just something like this, and gonna invert it. And just gonna pull down the exposure, not too much, just a little bit, and maybe we're gonna make it a little larger, something like this. In this way I can choose where I want the light to be and where I want to draw the focus. Tip number 7 is view your image. So you have done your edits and you're not really sure what to do now. and there's a lot of information on the screen. So to minimize this, I'm just gonna press L, and just like that, everything disappears and I just see the image. If I press again, it's going totally dark and there's nothing left besides the image. And this can really help me view the image without any disturbance. Tip number 8 is resetting your photo. So what if you don't want to reset your whole image and you don't want to be sitting here dragging around sliders going left and right? You want to be efficient, so you can just hover over the thing you want to go back to 0 and just double tap. Just like that, it goes back to 0, and that works on everything. Tip number 9 is clipping. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press J on the keyboard and, well, nothing happens, which is a good thing. But if I start to drag my sliders right here, exposure, drag it up, and just like that, you start to see here the red, and that means it's clipping. There's no information left there, it's just pure white. And I can also drag down my blacks, just like that. You can see they're starting to show up some blue here. That means that this area is entire black and there's no information left. Sometimes these things are hard to see with the naked eye, so the computer helps us with it. Tip number 10 is change your layout. So if you're like me and doing your edits on a laptop, you probably don't have a very big screen, and sometimes it's hard to see the images. So what I like to do is I can just, when I have picked my image and I don't need all the information on the screen, I can come up here and press this little arrow and that disappears. Over here I got all my presets, but I don't want to use that right now, so I'm gonna press that one away. And down here I don't need to see all my photos, I can just press here, and just like that I have a bigger image to work on. What I do like to do is move this so it's a little bit bigger. That does affect the photos sometimes, make it a little bit smaller on the screen, but I think it's okay because it gives me more room when I'm using the sliders. So this was my 10 Lightroom tips, and I really hope you got something out of this. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you next time. Bye.